Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, it is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and therefore, guess what? I'm here. Yes, it's true. We are sadly missing Twitter because I think Twitter is out today, but that's okay. You can see me still on Facebook, and of course, you can also still see me on the YouTube page. So I hope you are enjoying a new cool Sharpe Way at 7 p.m. You know, this time, it is Tuesday, and I'm doing it for Tuesday, even though it isn't Tuesday. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. I'm pretending it's Tuesday because I've been out for so long, and I'm doing a last weekend today. I'm going to show you some clips I think you'll enjoy. But before I do that, please always like, comment, share. It does matter. You got to like, comment, and share even more because we don't have Twitter. You say, Larry, we don't have Twitter. I know, but it's okay. We do have Facebook and we do have YouTube. So still good. Like, comment, share. And of course, if you can support, please still sponsor 10, 25, or $100 to patreon.com/sharpeway, whatever works best for you. There is going to be a lot of video today I'm going to show you. A lot of it told you so. We're seeing what happened here along the last couple of months, and I've been talking about different things, and I want to bring a lot of those up to your attention, but there's one of them I want to bring up kind of right away, and that is briefly, if I could, the WHO has changed its mind. Yes, it has absolutely changed its mind. The WHO now has changed its mind, decided that, you know what, maybe these lockdowns we talked about aren't exactly as critical as we thought. So let me, if I could, pop this up real fast and listen to this if you don't mind, watching what was literally on the news recently.
World leaders against COVID-19 lockdowns
Yes.
as a way to mainly tackle outbreaks after previously saying that countries should be careful how quickly they reopen.
Yeah.
Dr. David Nabarro from the World Health Organization just came out and said such restrictive measures should only be treated as a last resort.
Whoa, so lockdown should only be a last resort, not the first thing we do? Remember that. Because I'm about to show you something else which is going to drive you insane. WHO, last resort only.
And tight restrictions will cause significant harm, particularly on the global economy.
Now, hold on. I'm trying to remember. Was there someone out there, say 7 months ago, who was talking about how the lockdowns are going to hurt people more than not locking down? Who was? Oh, right. Me. Yes, I was saying it. And here we go.
Lockdowns just have one consequence that you must never, ever belittle, and that is making poor people an awful lot poorer.
Well, look at that.
So joining us now to
look at that. The WHO says that what lockdowns do is they make poor people a whole lot poorer. Oh, my God. Look at that. Huh. They figured it out last week. I figured that out 7 months ago. And so a lot of the people who didn't want to hear it, and that drives me crazy. They immediately wanted to hit it immediately. You might say, well, Larry, did they really think that? Is that what they really think? Well, yeah, they do. And let me tell you how I know, because my governor, this is thanks to someone who's watching. If you want to say who you are, you can tell me. He sent me this. I actually have an example of literally someone, our governor, actually saying just that. Actually saying that it's all about fear. Right? Paul, you are, yep. Yes, indeed, Paul. 100% he does want to lock down again. But hold on. I actually want you to listen. Paul, you coming in right on time, brother. All right, I want you to listen to this if you don't mind. This is from Twitter. Oh, Twitter's down. Maybe I might not be able to hear it anymore. I hope I have it saved. I don't know if it'll actually come on or not. Let's see if it will actually come on or not.
Rabbi,
here we go.
I'll ask, let me make a comment and let us Dr. Zucker. I don't disagree with you.
This is literally Cuomo speaking to a rabbi in New York.
And look, I'm 100% frank and candid. This is not a highly nuanced, sophisticated response.
What?
This is a fear-driven response.
Huh.
You this is not a policy being written by a scalpel. This
What?
is a policy being cut by a hatchet.
So this is my governor talking to religious observant Jews in New York State, telling him that this policy of shutting everything down to include their religious buildings. Yes, it was Tim O'Connor. Yes, it was. Tim sent this to me. Thank you, Tim. Their religious, yes, it was. Their religious buildings, admitting this is about fear, admitting it's a hatchet, says it openly.
It's just a very
Blunt.
I didn't propose this, it was proposed by the mayor.
Always someone else's fault. Never underestimate Cuomo's ability to always blame somebody else. He's never responsible for anything. It doesn't matter how bad it is. That man is never responsible. So you know what? The mayor. It's the mayor's fault. That's who it is.
In the city.
By the way, he literally now has executive powers to change anything. And that's not figuratively. He was given those powers. For those of you who don't know, he in New York State, he was actually given powers, emergency powers, to end any local law or mandate. So he has the power literally to tell that that mayor, no, he can, but he won't.
I'm trying to sharpen it and make it better.
Of course you are.
It's out of fear. People
Fear.
see the numbers going up.
Yeah.
Close everything.
Close
everything.
Like he didn't say that. Like other people are telling him, and he was all like, no, don't close. Like that was happening. Wow. People still vote for this guy.
It's not the best way to do it.
Not the best way.
But it is a fear-driven response.
So shut up and take it.
The virus scares people.
It scares people. So shut up. Take my boot on your neck. I don't care about your religion. What are you, Jewish? You feel persecuted? Stop. When have Jews ever been persecuted? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Governor?
Hopefully, we get the numbers down.
Yeah.
In the zip codes.
Just shut up. Don't be Jewish, because it's not like there's a First Amendment or anything that says you get to be whatever religion you want to be. If only we had a law or an amendment that would say you get freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of religion. Man, if we only had that amendment in our Constitution. Oh, wait, we do. But to him, as always, all of our amendments, first and second, totally, are optional for our governor. Totally optional.
Anxiety comes down.
It's anxiety.
And then we can have a smarter, more tailored approach.
That's what it. Once people aren't afraid, I'm not going to do anything to fix that. It's not my responsibility as governor to keep people calm and not afraid. It's not my responsibility as governor to have a nuanced approach. It's not my responsibility as governor to do anything except kiss your rear end now and blame others.
Your point is right.
He's right.
Why close every school?
Why?
Why don't you test the schools and close the ones that have a problem?
Whoa, are you saying one size doesn't fit all? Cuomo saying that? What?
I know, but
crazy.
First, I don't know that we have the resources to do that now.
We don't have the resources to protect your rights, but you know what we do have resources to do? Without question, we got resources to go to every single business and shut them down and fine them. Boy, do we have resources for that. We got so many resources to go to individual businesses, find them and shut them down and suck up their liquor licenses. Boy, we have resources for that. But to protect your First Amendment rights, it takes people. What can you do?
But I can tell you honestly.
Oh, honestly? Okay.
The fear is too high.
The fear is too high for your rights. I mean, look, I know you got these silly, Bill of Rights things. I know, but the fear way too high for your rights. This is what my governor says. Openly, this is what my governor says. Fear's way too high for your rights. I mean, people are afraid of you, right? I mean, when has being afraid of Jews ever gone wrong? If only we had I don't know, say 5,000 years of history that would show us that being afraid of Jews and blaming Jews would go wrong. If we only had 5,000 years of history of people doing that and it going horribly wrong every single time, then maybe, oh wait, we actually do. We literally have 5,000 years of history of fearing Jews and blaming Jews going wrong every single time. You would think that maybe 5,000 years of history would make somebody go, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid of Jews. I'm not going to blame Jews. That's probably not gonna, particularly in New York State. Nope. We decided that.
To do anything other than let's do everything we can to get the infection rate
That's
down
it.
now. Close the doors, close the windows.
Close the doors and windows, put them on the trains, and we'll be fine. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I'm blown away by how he has such hubris that he would literally say this to a rabbi. Right? I mean, not like to his friend at a bar or something. Look, I would still disagree with it if he said it to his friend at a bar. But at least you know that he's just saying it to his friend at a bar and he's just trying to hide it or something. No. He has such hubris that he says this to a rabbi. Wow.
That's where we are.
Yeah, that's where we are. What are you going to do?
You want to add something?
You want to add something? When are we going to put the yellow sticker stars on their chest? When is that going to happen? I can't believe that this is happening. And I got to say, again, the worst part, and I'm embarrassed, it's New York State. Man, my city is at least 20% Jewish. At least 20% Jewish. Of the business friends that I have in the city, the friends that I hang out with, at least 1 in 4 is Jewish. At least 1 in 4, maybe more. Of the friends that I have in my neighborhood that I talk to, probably 1 in 6, 1 in 8. That's how prevalent the Jewish community is in this city. That's how prevalent. I would never think this, say this, act, but not just the Jews. I'm saying it because it's Jewish and because of the history. But I wouldn't say this to Catholics. I wouldn't say my family's Eastern Orthodox. I wouldn't say it to the EO community. No community. Amish, no. Amish aren't even watching me. Doesn't matter, Amish. I don't know. I'll yell loud enough you'll hear me. I wouldn't do it to the Amish either. Nobody. Man, our rights don't go away because you're afraid. They just don't. They don't go away because you're afraid. I'm not okay with that at all. Was there someone who was talking about this early on? I don't know, say 7 months ago? Yes, there was. And for those of you who don't remember that, and some of you might need a little bit of a jog of your memory. Yeah, it was this guy. It was this guy. Yes, it was this guy. New York State decided that what it was going to do is have the state create hand sanitizer and then give that away to New Yorkers. Do you remember this? This is from 7 months ago, guys, when I was talking about it. Those of you who care, go to my Sharpe Way YouTube page, roll to the bottom, says COVID-19, and I covered all of this then. Every single bit. I covered all of it. You might say, well, Larry, I get it. I get what you're saying. But is it really that bad? Is it really that bad? Well, yeah, let me explain. That's just New York State. But it's bad across the country. The entire country. Absolutely. It's bad across the country. And last weekend, 2 weeks ago, I was away last weekend running around New York State trying to get people to vote Libertarian. I hope you guys will. But I missed 1 week of Frontline. Frontline from about a week ago talked about the COVID crisis and all the problems, the medical supply problems that he had. So let me cover a couple pieces real fast. You can watch this and you'll see what I mean by how bad we did and what I was talking about.
You know, when you stop and think that we send soldiers into battle with the equipment that they need.
Yep.
Yet we were asking nurses to do the exact same thing,
Yep.
but without the equipment that they needed.
Yeah.
There's a failure in the system. I think
That's
those who
true.
are in position to ensure that the supply chain was being maintained, they failed us.
Now, let me ask you, hear what he just said. Those who were in charge of making sure the supply chain was maintained, they failed us. Well, who was that? Who's in charge of the American supply chain? The answer would be government, maybe? No, there shouldn't be anybody in charge of the American supply chain. This is a fantasy person that he's created. I don't know who that should be. But what he's saying is we should have someone in charge. If only we had more bureaucracy, then things would have gone fine. That's his entire point. That's most of America's entire point. But that isn't the right answer. And as this goes on, you're going to find a whole lot more. This is a 1 hour show. I'm not going to go through the entire hour. I would love to sit here and just trash this entire hour, but I won't. I won't punish you like that. But this is just one piece of an hour-long frontline that talks about all these different things. So they talk about, I'll go to the next one. They talk about who they follow. They followed all of the PPE. And let me show you what this one's about. You'll love this one. It's a group of people who followed how it actually worked.
From the earliest days, they were tracking a database of medical supply imports.
Tracking it.
Coming from China.
Within the numbers, one detail stood out.
You see
Okay.
this graph?
Yeah.
Beginning in March, the usual flow of tons of PPE from China to the U.S. had plummeted.
What we're seeing.
Wait a minute. During March, PPE plummeted. So people couldn't get the PPE they needed in March. Who in March was talking about local people making their own PPE so they could supply local communities? Who was saying, right, me, that's the person who was saying that. Yes, it was me who was saying that. I was the one talking about exactly that. I was the one talking about local people making money, making PPE so that we could actually be ready for a pandemic like this. Yes.
Here is like pretty consistent.
Yeah.
25 shipments, 22 shipments, 23 shipments, and then just whoosh, drops to 3 shipments.
And then what we did, we said, government, what do we do? Instead of saying local communities, how do we step up? I talked about this in February, so that by the time April would have come, we would have been able to immediately run through this. We would have had enough for everybody, but we didn't do that. No, we didn't. So now when we rushed to get some, okay, let's get some from China. That'll work. Now we've screwed up. Now we're going to get some extra stuff from China. China's going to help us out. And national nonprofits are going to help out, not local. And what happened there? I bet that went well, right?
No, they're definitely not.
What's wrong here?
We sent some of the masks to be tested at an environmental medicine lab at the University of North Carolina.
These are the masks that then eventually came from China through a non-profit because we couldn't make them locally. Remember how we couldn't do that? That wasn't the answer. Government has our back. The government will find an answer to do it for us. Here's the government answer.
All of these products that arrived, even though they're labeled clearly N95, and they show the lady in the picture is wearing a mask with head straps.
There we go. There's a woman in a picture with the mask on. So clearly it's labeled.
It has ear loops. So that's a dead giveaway that it's a counterfeit product.
We got counterfeit
that we tested.
His test showed that the counterfeit masks did not meet requirements to filter at least 95% of harmful particles.
So the government's plan didn't work and wound up giving us BS masks? Who was talking about the government actually putting out lists for how to make the right masks and then allowing local communities to make them way back in March? That was, me. Yes. Okay.
Direct Relief never sent out the masks.
Yes.
But around
So now no one got the masks. Brilliant. They didn't send them out. Man, this is rocking and rolling, isn't it? Everything has gone right so far, hasn't it? Yeah. No, not at all. It's all going terribly bad. Now, the problem is there was a way of fixing this not in America. And we found this with the H1N1 virus about 10 years ago or so. I forgot. Was that about 10 years ago, give or take? I forget how far away that was. About 10 years ago or so, there was the H1N1 scare. And when that came out, that was a real virus. And we were already in trouble then. But we found a way of fixing that. We had a local company in Texas ramp up. That's right. They're going to ramp up and save us. That was our response. Watch how that worked. Watch how that worked. I think you'll like this part too. Nothing but good, by the way. As always, government, nothing but good. Here we go.
Made by you in the United States of America here in North Virginia.
Are we willing to spend a few pennies more for a mask, but have a reliable mask available and the supply of masks that we need? I think that's the question that has to be answered.
And this is what I speak about constantly. When people get mad at me and they say, Larry, you got to stand up to China. Larry, you got to fight China. What do I always say? No, we need actual transparency, which we don't have when the government covers it, which we don't have when big business is protected by government. We don't have transparency. We get those crappy masks that some individual group had to notice and then test, or those crappy masks would have gone out to our first responders, our frontline people, and they would have not been protected. They would have not been protected was for some individual figuring out this is a bad idea, right? But when we have transparency and we know this, the question is, will the American public say, you know what? I know that mask costs 30 cents or 40 cents. And I know that one costs 75, but that's an American-made mask that I agree with. That one's an American-made mask that will work. I'm going to pay the 75 cents and not the 40 cents. Americans have to say that. Now, Larry, Americans will never say that. I disagree. Look right now in New York State. There are tons of Americans and New Yorkers right now who will pay an extra $1 for a bottle of beer because they happen to want to have a locally brewed beer in our local breweries. Still to this day, people will still do it. Not everybody will, but enough will to support a New York State brewery industry. Enough do. So if things go wrong, that industry can actually survive and function in our state. And the question is, will the average American, mom or dad or a parent who's going into Walmart, are they prepared to spend 35 cents for a box of crayons that are American made versus 25 cents that are Chinese made? If not, we're going to keep buying China. We're going to keep buying Chinese. China's going to keep dumping their products. If Americans actually say, you know what, I'll spend the extra 10 cents. I will. When Americans say that for their box of crayons, China will have to change. They might go, well, it's all about China. It isn't. You go back 50 years, it was Japan was our China then. That was the cheap goods that was flooding in America. And 20 years from now, it'll be somewhere else. It'll be China. It'll be Vietnam, or it'll be Poland, or it'll be Ukraine, or whatever. It will be something else. The culture has to change to stop whatever is the next China. Otherwise, it keeps happening. His point is a valid one. It isn't about tariffs or anger or whatever. It's about Americans making decisions and having transparency and not being covered by big business and government contracts.
So what happened to that response center?
Now, remember that they made they built that. I'm sorry, I didn't cover this, but they built a big response center, and this company absolutely, went crazy and kept going and built a bunch of stuff and made a bunch of masks and helped us out for the H1N1 crisis. And then what happened after that?
The amount of product that was purchased diminished. The pandemic was over.
Yep.
Everyone's attention got diverted to something else. And
Yep.
The money's dried up.
One day, America realizes we're not going to die from H1N1.
Yep.
It looks like swine flu is history.
The World Health Organization
Yep.
just declared an end to the H1N1 pandemic alert.
Yep.
With the outbreak under control, prestige Ameritech orders weren't renewed.
Uh-oh.
Hospitals went back to buying cheaper masks from...
That's my point. Hospitals went right back to buying cheaper masks. Now, I'm not against the way the market works. I get how the market works. But that was my entire point. I didn't want some company like this having to double and triple up and put itself at great risk, and then we screw them over. I wanted local people, as I mentioned more than once. I wanted local nonprofits, local small businesses that weren't doing well to add this on to their product line so that locally they could now support the local people who needed it most. And that company would ramp up a bit, but wouldn't commit to literally, they went from 60 employees to 260 and almost went bankrupt. That shouldn't happen. We can do better locally.
Their overseas suppliers. Reese's business nearly went bankrupt.
Yep.
The people that we had hired, these people that step in to save America, they were rewarded by getting in an unemployment line.
See what we did for them? Thank you for saving us. You're fired.
When they asked you to ramp up, didn't the government guarantee anything to help support you?
No.
Yeah, no, not really. Not really at all. Not how that works.
Nothing.
No.
Not how that really works at all. Absolutely. Not the answer. So my point being, could we have found a way to make this work? Yes. Did we have to know last week from this front line? No. I was talking about this a long time ago. I was bringing this up literally 7 months ago. I was talking about this. This is not brand new. It could have been done. Now, the next thing we talk about, this one, right? That was H1N1. Now, how about this one now? COVID. What did we do for COVID? Well, there was something that did happen for COVID. And guess what it was? Well, watch.
Possible to ignore the warnings any longer.
Yeah.
All kinds of companies producing things they don't normally produce.
Furniture makers switched to making masks.
Yes.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of hands-on-deck approach.
So companies that weren't doing that well decided to start making other things. Who was the one there was someone who was talking about that like 7 months ago. Oh, right, me. I was the one saying exactly this. Use this as a chance for people to increase their business if they're in that position. But don't force people and don't wait for the government. Just encourage them to do. And many would have. And now they were doing it, but it was too late. Not too late, but it was late for so many people who already had problems.
Factories retooled to make face shields.
Yep.
Distilleries were producing hand sanitizer.
Whoa, distilleries making hand sanitizer? That's odd. I'm trying to remember who was the person saying that in New York State we should rescind all distillery laws immediately back in February so that anyone could use this and start to make hand sanitizer. That was, oh, right, it was me. Yeah. 7 months ago, 8 months ago. Yeah.
We went to one hospital group on Long Island.
Huh.
Hello. Hi. That was trying to make its own swabs for coronavirus tests.
So they were making swabs and other things for tests. Huh. Interesting. How were they making that? Please tell me.
By no means are we going into the swab business forever.
So they weren't going into the swab business. They were using this as a way to gain customers.
There's a way to keep us operating at 100% as more and more people came into the hospital.
Yes.
They were using 3D printing technology.
Wait a minute. 3D printing technology? I'm trying to remember who was the guy who said he would ensure that the AG would never in any way, shape, or form prosecute anybody who was using 3D printing technology to make things like tests and ventilators. Oh, yeah, that was kind of me again. That was me again, saying exactly this 7 months ago.
This is the final swab here. We need these swabs from everyone. Like producing it by manufacturing capacity is not there. So we need everyone.
Oh, so we need everyone, like local people, like smaller groups, to start doing this to support it. Yeah, I kind of knew that. That's kind of how that works. Because good leaders don't say, I got this, go back to watching Netflix. Good leaders don't do that. What good leaders do is say, follow me. We all are in this together. Let us all work to make this happen. We didn't get that. We didn't get that at all. That still drives me crazy. That still drives me crazy. Because what we did do was begin to use force. That we did. That we sure did. And let me explain how that works. I just gave you the force piece from Cuomo. So for those of you who are Democrats and be mad at me because I hammered Cuomo, but it's okay. I got a Trump one too. So whatever side you like, they're all tyrants.
Over in Venezuela, ask them, how did nationalization of their businesses work out? Not too well.
See, absolutely. He was like, nationalizing is a bad idea. Trump, I'm with you. You're right. But
Eventually, as the pandemic worsened, he relented.
Yeah, he did.
Tweeting at automakers, start making ventilators now.
it was a good try, Trump. It was. I think you started out strong. You did start strong, but you fell to what all of them fall for. The only answer is government, and government is violence.
This afternoon, I invoked the Defense Production Act to compel General Motors to accept, perform, and prioritize federal contracts for ventilators.
What could go wrong?
We spoke to the head of the
What could
ventilator
go wrong?
company that was working with GM about the president's order.
Well, wait a minute. This guy he's the one acting on the order. Clearly, he wouldn't do anything until the president ordered him to, because he's an evil capitalist. And when an evil capitalist will only try to help when the government forces them.
We were doing everything we could to move as fast as possible with General Motors. I think Trump was expressing what so many Americans were feeling. We need ventilators now. We need to solve this problem now.
President Trump said the Defense Production Act, he was invoking it
Forced
in order
you.
to get this going. Is that what
Yeah.
got you
Of course, he's an evil capitalist. Trump had to force him.
and your company working with GM and Kokomo to start making ventilators, or were you already making ventilators at that point?
We were already in the process of making ventilators.
What? I thought capitalists were all evil people who require government to force them to do things. I can't believe that. So this guy actually said, I care about people doing the right thing and want to start making ventilators. Huh. What happened to that evil capitalist thing? That's kind of odd. So government just fell over themselves. And then once they saw him doing it, then Trump went, oh, you're doing it? Do it. I'll take credit for that.
And the Defense Production Act didn't get us to move faster, and it didn't
Yeah.
create the partnership.
Nope.
The DPA did help in terms of supply lines and getting parts here on time.
It did use government force to break things up so that other people couldn't get things. You can get yours. That it did. That's
You
true.
can get a tweet from the president, or you can have a phone call with a frontline hospital worker and hear their voice shaking, talking about trying to make a decision of who gets a ventilator and who doesn't.
So a human
Those
being.
phone calls from the real heroes that you'll never forget.
Is that right? That doesn't make any sense. I can't believe that the evil capitalist didn't just wait till he was ordered by our president to act. He actually acted on his own without that. Yeah, because he's human. Because all of us are just human. And when the environment is right, we tend to do the right thing. I say it all the time. And this is just more evidence of what I've been saying forever. Change the environment and you will have better actors. That's how it works. People, they respond to their environment. It's what I keep saying. And I'm so glad that at least Frontline's getting something right. I'm glad, right? I mean, it's something. If you guys want to watch this, it is on YouTube, or you could, go to PBS, whatever works best for you. But I'm just trying to show you that I wasn't just making this stuff up, guys. I wasn't just pulling this out of my derriere. It was something real.
When we looked at the White House's report on DPA contracts,
the DPA, Defense Production Act contracts. You know what? Government contracts? Come on. They're always efficient and effective and always work well, right? When does the government mess anything up? This is going to be just fine. I'm sure just fine.
it showed that the largest ones had been earmarked not for PPE.
What?
But for ventilators, which the U.S. produces a lot of already.
Wait a minute.
And one contract stood out.
Tell me.
$646 million.
Oh, is that all? 646 million? It's nothing. It's like tolls in Manhattan or something. That's nothing. Keep going.
To Philips Respironics.
Oh, okay.
The
Wait a
same
minute.
company whose earlier deal to deliver ventilators to the national stockpile has been plagued by delays.
Yeah, remember the bad ventilators that don't work? That's these guys. The ones that they can't get on time? That's these guys. Yet they got another contract? I wonder why.
If this company didn't deliver on their
Yeah.
first contract, how do you get a second contract?
How does that happen?
That is something we're trying to figure out.
You don't have to. It's called cronyism. Easy day. I figured that one out too. Yeah, not that hard, homeboy. Really easy. Cronyism. That's how that works. Government contracts are filled with cronyism. $600 million worth of cronyism. Just know the right guy. You get your cut. That's how that works. You don't got to think too hard. It's not that tough at all. Really. I got this one. I got this one for you. It is more corruption, more cronyism. That's what it's all about. And this is what happens again and again and again. When government gets involved, corruption is there. But again, what if it was just Americans making products for Americans? Absolutely. That's what would have been so much better. So let me go to the problem or the issue with capitalism that I already knew about, which is one of the reasons why my plan was my plan, right? Effective capitalism isn't very good with huge spikes in markets. It isn't. It's not made for that, right? It just isn't made for that. That's why you have to have local people who can step up and fill the gap. But this is another piece you'll see the gentleman talking about why it doesn't work, why you can't use that style of ramp up things so fast. The H1N1 example we brought up, almost crushed the company. Companies aren't going to crush themselves anymore. They've learned that lesson.
A New York hospital group that had scrambled for swabs in the early days of the pandemic.
Yep. And because of how the ACA works, the Affordable Care Act works, it has made even more of these massive hospital groups, which are just cartel systems and which create local monopolies. So if they can't do it right, it doesn't get done. There's no other group there to do it, which is why local nonprofits have to step in to break the monopoly of a government-sponsored cartel system.
So, Paul, what's going on the truck?
Tell us.
These two carts are PPE supplies for a COVID unit.
Paul Spodek oversees medical supply distribution here.
There we go.
He explained to us that the way the business works is based on a concept known as just-in-time.
Just-in-time. Now, just for those of you who don't know, just-in-time actually was taken from the Japanese back in the 80s. The concept was taken from the Japanese and now brought to America, and using technology is super effective, right? Most companies in industrialized countries, most of them use some form of just-in-time inventory, which means, you ask for it, you get exactly that, no more, no less, and it saves time in transportation, it saves time and money in storage, all those things. Very effective.
Which is designed to keep costs low.
Absolutely.
The hospital will submit an order today, get their delivery tomorrow.
There we go.
Just for that day.
Yep.
And they receive it in just in time.
Yep.
Instead of stockpiling material on site and using up valuable space.
Yep, valuable space. I agree. But what type of organization tends to have a bunch of extra space during the times of things like pandemics? I don't know. American Legions, VFWs, Knights of Columbus, local churches, Elks Club, everything I was talking about. They tend to have space. They tend to have facilities. They tend to have volunteers who would love to help out. They'd like to be more relevant. They could have taken a whole lot from you. Happily, eagerly, they would have done it. Yeah, but we didn't.
And also labor.
So it's a space issue,
they had
not
it.
wanting to order a lot more product than you think you'll need in the immediate short term.
Correct. It's a space issue, but it's also making sure you get the right product.
Sure. You want
if
the
you're
right
not
stuff.
utilizing a just-in-time system.
But the problem is, what's right when you can, easily know what's happening on a day-to-day basis. But when you have a problem like COVID or H1N1, you may not. You know who wouldn't mind keeping some extra masks in the common area? Just about any nonprofit there is. Just about any local community center. They'd be more than happy to keep your extra. And that was my entire point of this plan. That was the entire
You
point.
will order too much product that you do not need,
Yep.
and not enough product that you really do need.
But when the pandemic first hit,
yeah,
most hospitals didn't have enough on hand.
Of course not.
Or a way to stockpile because of the just-in-time system.
Bingo. That's why I didn't want to use it. That was exactly why I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to use the local people and making it work. Yes, I was thinking about this. I understand how business works. You know who doesn't know how business works? New York State's governor. No idea how business works. No clue how people in business actually think. Clue less. Of course not. Now, how do we fix this issue, right? How do we make this better? Well, here's a piece where they talk about, how much people are going to spend for an actual mask.
Tech N95 masks for under $1. Here's a N95 mask made in China for 30 cents.
30 cents.
How do you compete with that?
Well, that's really the issue.
How
the
do
bottom
you?
line is China can sell masks into the U.S. market in my territory for cheaper than my raw material costs are.
Yep.
And so you're not going to be able to successfully compete there.
So what's the answer?
That's
Could it be, I'm just going to go crazy on this one. Could it be that maybe the regulations and rules and insurances that crush small business and taxes and inspections that come down that devastate small business on a daily basis, could it be any of that? I'm just, maybe I'm crazy, but could it be that? That would make it a little bit cheaper enough that Americans would say, you know what? If I got to spend 50 cents for an American mask or 35 cents for a Chinese mask, you know what? I'll buy the American mask. And would it be nice if maybe some local politician, I don't know, governor, mayor, would talk about their local businesses on a daily basis, would support their businesses, local businesses, talk about them, promote them on his social media? Do you think one would do that instead of just promoting themselves on social media, but also promote local businesses so people could go there and they could thrive? Maybe I'm asking too much.
the same thing we heard talking to people who do business in China.
Yep.
Cameron Johnson helps U.S. hospitals buy PPE from China and has been based in Shanghai for 20 years.
This guy is all about China. This is where he makes his money. He's paying his bills. He is all about China.
One thing that I keep hearing here in the United States is we are going to have to shift manufacturing here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have to be producing a domestic supply of N95s and gowns and gloves and test kits.
Mm-hmm.
Is that realistic?
The challenge really is that China has 50% of the world's production capacity, particularly for masks. So are we going to move an entire supply chain over? It's just not going to happen.
That's what he brings up all the time. He says it's just not going to happen. I mean, he's trying to be real. I know it sounds horrible, but the guy's trying to be realistic and saying that this is just not where America is. So the issue is, how do we fix this? All right, so let's be realistic on what he's saying, right? What this guy is saying is it's not going to change.
China. Okay, but what's your plan?
Yes.
Manufacturing is not going to come back to the U.S. either because the ecosystems don't exist, or the technology basis doesn't exist, or government support doesn't exist. I mean, take your pick.
He's right. He's right. It's what I just said. It's what I just said. We're not allowing our small companies to build the technology with the 3D printing that I talked about. Instead, we're suing them because of intellectual property issues. We're stopping our smaller companies from being innovative. We're stopping them in every way from being innovative, from cryptocurrency to 3D printing to everything we possibly can. So technology, that's screwed up. Second, government support. Now, I don't want the government to start giving money to small business. I don't want that. But what I want them to do is two things. One, just openly support them. Talk about them. Let Americans know that there are Americans here trying to survive and do well and who care about the local communities. Encourage people to buy locally. Encourage people to support their local businesses. Just do that and stop creating barriers to entry and stop creating government-sponsored monopolies. Don't do that so that people could buy local, people could buy American. We don't have government support either. And lastly was the environmental issue, which is what I talked about. The individual American. Is the individual American prepared to spend 50 cents for an American-made mask versus 35 cents for a inferior Chinese-made mask. When any of those three pick, he's right. And we need at least one of those three. We got none. Let's try to get one. Let's try to get two or three. And then it won't matter if it's China or Vietnam or Ukraine or Poland or take your pick. We can actually make this work.
Here we are again. It's harder to get anything. Nurses worry there won't be enough personal
Everyone's
protection.
worried all over again. We're going back to this issue because we didn't do what I said. We didn't fall back to what I said we should fall back on. We screwed up. So let me piss this last piece because now we're going to the last piece, which is what it's just about. We haven't learned our lesson. Throughout this entire thing, they're talking about it, how bad it is, what mistakes we've made, and we haven't even tried to fix them. And now we're talking now about vaccines, right? So now we're going to make the vaccine, and the vaccine to 300 million Americans or whatever that thing is supposed to be. And now we're worried, are we going to have enough? Are we going to have enough of the vaccine or enough of the needles or enough of the vials or all these things? She brings this piece up.
And enough of the syringes and so on.
The Trump administration says it's been ramping up and has given contracts to several U.S. companies to...
Have we learned nothing? Have we learned nothing? Literally, now our answer is, you know what? We've totally screwed over American companies during H1N1. That was under Obama. Totally screwed our American companies over. Didn't learn anything. Now Trump comes. Trump doesn't have an answer. He won't do local. Neither will any of the governors. They've learned nothing. And so now we're worried about this vaccine, which I'm already scared of. And I know many of you are too. And what's the answer? Government contracts. Because you know what? What could go wrong? If only we had hundreds of years of proof on how government contracts constantly fail again and again and again. If only we had, oh wait, we actually do have exactly that. Hundreds of years of proof on how these government contracts will fail. But we haven't even gone there. Listen to what they talk about, and we're not even there yet.
Boost the supply of syringes.
In June, you mentioned that we were on the path to have 400 million needles and syringes.
We're going to have 400 million needles and syringes. Well, good then, right?
Can you just tell me if you think we're going to meet it?
We've used the Defense Production Act with a few U.S. producers.
So we've used the Defense Production Act. Just understand that. We use threat of force and force. That's what the Admiral is saying. We've used force and threat of force. We hit them with a stick and threaten him with a stick. And?
I believe they're on track. I think some.
Yeah, that doesn't sound. He's like, I believe, we showed him the stick. I believe we're on track. First off, why should they even be on track, right? I mean, why should he even be in charge of this, right? Not that he's not a competent admiral. He might be a very competent admiral. I don't know him. I don't want to attack him as an individual. I don't know this admiral. He may be a very competent naval officer. So I want to be clear on that. I don't know. He may be super competent. He shouldn't be in charge of this. He should be in charge of, I don't know, fighting other ships. That's probably what he's good at. So why don't we have him go fight some ships and he'll be good at that? Why is some Navy guy in charge of how many syringes America produces? I don't know why that makes any sense. I don't know why we're talking to him. I don't know why people aren't going, why the hell is a naval officer in charge of how many needles go in our arms? I have no idea why we aren't upset about this. If we were fighting a naval campaign, I'd call this guy up in a heartbeat. I'm sure he's great at that. Why this?
Some of these vaccines might be a double dose, so we'll need twice the number of 300 some odd million Americans, and I believe they have syringes on that order of magnitude, vials, syringes on order.
Yeah, on order. Yeah, I'm sure they have it on order. They've ordered a piece of paper. I order all these hundreds of millions. Well, now I have it on order too. See, we both have 600 million vials and syringes on order. I do too. I just wrote it down. Hold on, I didn't actually. I'm lying. Hold on, let me write it down. I'm literally writing down 600 million syringes. Now I also have them on order. So the odds of me getting those 600 million syringes and you getting them, exactly the same. The odds are the same. Neither of us is going to get that. And the other part is, neither of us should be in charge of it in the first place. We failed again and again and again and learned nothing. I know I yapped about this a lot, guys. I know I did. And I showed you a whole lot today. But I did it on purpose. Because I wanted you to understand this doesn't get better if we don't make changes. If we don't stop doing this and assuming that this is the only way, if we don't change our thought process, our paradigm, this doesn't get any better. The same thing keeps happening again and again and again. Let me take some. You guys give me a lot of comments. I should go with that. But by the way, of course, please sponsor if you can. It does matter. Please like, comment, and share. It does matter. Let people know we're back on Twitter, which is awesome. I'm glad we're back on Twitter again. I'm very happy that we are. We're on Larry Sharpe Twitter, so please enjoy that if you would. But let me take some of these comments if I can. All right, just a lot of these. I appreciate that. Did I do a butt, Larry? Because I think I did. I think I absolutely did it. 100%. I already did it. I know you're surprised, Sarah. Me too. Obviously not. But the sad part is, some people aren't. Right? They still think the answer is falling back to government every single time, and it shouldn't be. Absolutely. To be fair, this whole COVID business was fairly uncharted territory. I disagree, brother. I love you, Keith. H1N1, SARS, we had seen it worse in other countries. Not here, but in Africa, we had Ebola. There were so many, multiple examples that we could have picked from to look at and say, how would it work? What has worked? What has failed? Absolutely. But we could have looked at it from not just that. We could have looked at it from any form of how do we get people to, the products that they need or desire when it's a shortage. We literally could have looked at sneakers. I'm serious. How do sneakers get out to the population, right, when they want to, when people hoard or things of that sort? There were so many ways we could have been looking at that. Absolutely. Yes. Cuomo wants to lock down again. As we mentioned, Paul, yes, absolutely. And it's a terrible idea. Yes. All right. I don't like Cuomo one bit, but Trump is the one who locked down America. Zach, I'm not sure that's true. I think Trump had something to do with it. Absolutely. There's no doubt you have to add responsibility on all the executives, mayors, governors, and the president too. And those of you who like Cuomo, I know some of you do. Some of you like Biden, whatever. Some of you are Democrats, I know. And you love when I get mad at Trump. And you hate when I get mad at Cuomo. But at the same point, I blame all of them. Any one of them could have made a change. Mayors could have pushed back. Governors could have pushed back. Trump could have pushed back. They all fell in line with the fear that, the one thing Cuomo was saying that was honest is he said it's a fear issue in that little clip I showed, right? And it is. It was a fear issue. Absolutely it was. And that part was true. And they all fell for that. Absolutely. So tyrants choose fear to control the people. Fear, I deal with this all the time, Paul, and people get mad at me when I say it. I say I don't want to make people afraid. I want to have policies and ideas that are, radical enough to be different, but familiar enough to be accepted, right? That's what I want people to notice, right? I want people to notice that. And many libertarians get mad at me. Maybe it's good to shake things up and make people afraid. That doesn't work ever. There is zero evidence. This is a fantasy that libertarians have told themselves for years and think it's the right answer. Fear gets us lockdown. Fear gets us war on drugs. Fear gets us war on terror. Fear gets us, nothing but bad. Fear gets us the military industrial complex. Fear gets us wars. Fear is a bad idea. People who are afraid make bad decisions. You are correct, Paul, 100%. I'm trying to not make people afraid. I'm trying instead to give them, another option. So, Keith, have you tried not being Jewish? That's kind of what Cuomo said, right? Look, just, people are afraid. Don't be Jewish right now. That's literally what Cuomo said. Just don't be Jewish right now, right? Okay? Can you just don't be Jewish for a while? People won't be afraid. And you can be Jewish again. Or you could just be who you are. That's guaranteed in the First Amendment, regardless of how people are afraid or not. I like my idea better than Cuomo's. That's what I like. Yes. Sounds like he's reading how he handled it in his book. Yeah, I know his book is coming out. Terrible. Yeah. New York has the resources to steal from us and the rest of us. Yes, Amy, isn't that amazing? We don't have the resources to, do a tailored lockdown, or to have tailored answers, or to, allow you to be you. We don't have resources for that. But to come steal your stuff, put you in jail, so many resources. So many. Absolutely. Excuse me. Republicans, Democrats in D.C. are negotiating to pass competing stimulus packages full of pork spending and bailouts for the politically well-connected. Yes, cronyism. Both sides support these massive awful bills. The only question is who gets that money. Either way, they send us the bill. Yes, what happens is massive companies get those $600,000 deals like we just talked about. Sorry, $600 million. $600,000. That's for chumps. $600 million deals. We'll get a check for $1,200. Yeah. Totally even. Of course. Yes. Thank you. I'm rare form tonight. I'm trying very much. Absolutely. Yes, please like, comment, and share. Absolutely. 100%. What's wrong with you, Larry? Do you need a list? Yeah. It's just some things that just... You're right, Keith. I shouldn't be surprised anymore. I shouldn't be. It's me. I shouldn't be surprised, but I still am. I still am. Absolutely. Yes, Gov does suck. That's true. Gov sucks. That's correct. Yes. The Sunni Oneida president resigned to focus on other ventures. She resigned because of her failed leadership during the pandemic. Why in the hell can't the governor freaking resign? Why? He's doing such a great job, Andrew. Ask him. He'll tell you more than once. Yes, he will. Yes. I remember a gun maker offering to make PPE. Cuomo was like, shut that down. Can I say gun on Facebook? I'm not sure you can. If I don't see you again, Tim, I know what happened. So yes, we have a gun manufacturer in New York State. We do. Absolutely. And Cuomo does not like them because guns by default are evil. Absolutely. Cuomo killed the first batch of seniors with COVID. Yes. He's killing the second batch with social isolation and broken hearts. Pete, God. I am so torn by that statement. I both love it and hate it. I love it because it's on the money, and I hate it because it's correct. I don't know how to act for that one. Well done. Well done. Lockdowns don't work. Lockdowns don't work, period. We go from dealing with the virus, then add on the effects of a lockdown, depression, drug addiction, relapses. Yes. Family violence. Tommy Brown. Yes. Lockdowns only destroy what we have on other fronts. Other countries have defeated the virus without lockdowns. Yes. Why? Lockdown a nation, destroy an economy. Yes. Keep the economy running and fight the virus. We should. We keep going on during the flu. They didn't lock down during the TB outbreak. All true, right? And if we look at countries who locked down versus those who didn't, if we actually look at those, as a general rule, it doesn't change the outcome. There are 3 areas in America that really shoot our numbers up. Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey. And what do they have in common? Large cities, large metro areas. Large metro areas is what caused all the cases and the deaths. Large metro areas filled with elderly people too, and all people mixing together, of course, is what it was. And whether we locked down, and those areas we all locked down. We locked down New York City, and we still had it. We locked down New Jersey, and we still had it. We did lockdowns, and we still had the same problems. Right? You look overseas in Europe. Some countries locked down, some didn't. General rule: what was the biggest factor? Population density. That was a big deal. Mask or no mask, lockdown or no lockdown. The biggest issue was population density, and New York City clearly super dense. The whole New York City metro area, super densely populated, the largest city in the country. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's true. Lockdowns don't solve the problem. Yes, and what happens every single time we do it? We have a problem with a lockdown. Terrible idea. Oh my God, Chinese knockoffs not meeting specs. Shock and awe. Yes, I know. It's again, if you do business, you expect this. This is what happens, right? You do, of course. This is what happens. Absolutely. Yes. COVID saw Fauci has made another asshat suggestion regarding Thanksgiving. Yes, right. He's saying now you can't have Thanksgiving. According to Cuomo, religion's the problem. No, you have a right to be you. I know some people get mad at me when I say it, and they go, but Larry, people are going to die. You're right. People might die. Some have. But if you have a choice of being ordered into a nursing home by Cuomo and dying, and not being able to see your families and friends and be alone and die alone, and the family members can't see you, so they don't even get to say goodbye to their loved one, that's option one. Or option two, you go to church with your family and your friends, doing what you want to do, your own choice, and you get sick and you die. But you were doing what you wanted to do with your family and your friends for your faith that you believe in. People get to say goodbye to you. Who am I to judge which is the right answer? The only person I can judge in that case is me. That's it. I own my life. You own your life. People own their lives. I don't know how we're not getting that. I don't know how we're not getting that. I don't own your life unless you give it to me for whatever reason. I don't own it, right? When I was in the Marine Corps, the government owned my life. They could throw my life away. But I volunteered to do that. I chose to give the Marine Corps my life for 7 years. That was my choice. Obviously, this was greedy capitalists killing people to make a buck. More government would have stopped them. Of course, Lyndon. Absolutely. 100%. 100% yes. Reinfections are occurring. Who wants to bet our immunity only lasts 6 months and lockdowns printed herd immunity to make the virus burn out? I'm not sure what that means. But I don't know, right? If reinfections occur, then how do we get around it? Are we going to be locked down forever? Right? We just can't do it. It doesn't work. Here's a fun fact. We never had a lockdown or shutdown when H1N1 or swine flu came in. And guess who was helping during that time? Fauci. Fauci never suggested to shut down or lockdown. I didn't know any of that. Nice. Government is the leading cause of death. Yes. Yes. Pete, you are killing it tonight, man. Absolutely. Yes. Frontline must have come across show ideas, researched them, and made this show. I wish that'd be funny. But reality of is they just, I watch a lot of shows that other people don't because they can't stand the spin on it. It's true. There are a lot of, and Frontline does too. Frontline's PBS. There's a spin on that. There's a spin on many things. And some people don't like the spin. So they don't watch it because they don't like the spin. Not me. I watch a show regardless of spin. I just know how to unspin it. Unspin it, unspin it, unspin it. I just unspin it, right? I get the data that they provide, particularly places like Frontline, Nova, PBS provides amazing data. Just you have to understand how to unspin the data, if that makes any sense. But they provide great data. So they just went through the numbers and found out, yeah, they came to the same conclusion that I did. I just came to that conclusion 7-8 months ago. They came to it last week. But yes, but the conclusion is the same, right? It's the same. That doesn't change. But if you see the spin at the end of it, as I showed you in the end, while Frontline said all these bad things about government, they did what you will often talk about Fareed Zakaria does. Fareed Zakaria, when he initially talks about government, it sounds almost libertarian. And a government mistake here, and a government mistake here, and a government screwed this up, and a bad problem, and blah, 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 boom. You think, oh, this guy's going down libertarian road. But then, right at the end, he goes, and of course, the only answer is lots more government. That's what Frontline did. They ended it with, well, come on, naval officer, you're in charge of stuff. Get a bigger stick. What's wrong with you? That's how they ended it. But the actual ideas and the data, right on the money. On the money. Yes. The young lady at the post office making masks. Local people love local people. 100% true, Tim. Absolutely true. Yes. Can I bet with you the virus avoidance strategy was the worst strategy ever? I think you might be right on that one, Tim. My worry is not only, and some of you are going to be mad when I say this, but not only is it bad that we're trying to avoid it, right? Which I get. Look, if you're at risk, I totally get you trying to avoid it. As I've said more than once, I have people in my world who are at risk, and I do not go see them. I only call them. I drop off when I drop off supplies for them. This is true. I literally will be masked up and gloved up, and I have a can of Lysol because they want to. It makes them feel comfortable. So I follow what makes them feel comfortable. I drop it off. I spray it with Lysol. True story. Then I put the can of Lysol on top, and I leave. And that's in front of the door. They're worried. They're at risk. They are both over 80, and one's on chemo, and one has both asthma and diabetes. So I got it. You're worried. That's what I do for them. But the rest of us, as we wash our hands, that's fine. But as we start using all that hand sanitizer every 5 minutes, as we start covering our face up every 5 minutes, as we clean everything 25, 26, 27 times, how's it going to affect our immune system? But not just that. Now we're inhaling or touching all of those detergents and all of those chemicals. How's that going to work? I think you're right, Tim. This is going to come back to bite us horribly in the future. Kids and adults you're finding out with allergies, right? When the kids have allergies, for decades, doctors have been telling them, avoid this, don't do anything, don't let them. And the kids have these terrible allergies because they tell the moms and dads that don't eat anything, don't touch anything while you're pregnant, nothing. And the kids have horrible allergies. And now what are they finding? You find the people, and then those of you who have kids with allergies, you'll find the new science. What's it saying? That was a mistake. Have a little. Slowly introduce. Even kids with horribly, very severe allergies. Now the new thing is, it's microdosing. Just so little until they eventually build tolerance. But for many of us parents, we were told even when the mom is pregnant, don't eat any of it, nothing. The kids never got accustomed to it. Destroyed their immune system, gave them all kind of allergy problems. We're finding that coming out now, right? Obviously, not every allergy. Someone's going to get mad at me and go, my kid has a special allergy. Your kid might. I don't know your specific kid. I'm saying generically, as a bunch of children, we're finding this to be a problem. Now what happens when our immune systems don't touch anything? Because we spent our time destroying every germ in the world. And we now absorb all these chemicals trying to kill all the germs. I don't want to bet with you, Tim, because I think you might be right. So anyway, yes. Okay. First of all, do not under any circumstance let the government control healthcare. No argument from me. As soon as the government was put in charge of healthcare, they have the power to decide who lives and who dies. Considering how our government works, duopoly will just use their power to get themselves in power. Yes, yes, and yes. Just look at how they already use the power to make laws that keep other parties of the ballots. That, yes. Congress takes the vaccine first. David, I'm in. Let them take it first. I love it. I love that. Absolutely. Yes. The same people that want to run on healthcare just decided who was essential. Ouch. Ooh, Lyndon, yes. You are absolutely right. Ouch. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. It thoroughly pissed me off how Cuomo decides what business or entity is essential and what isn't essential. What people are essential and aren't. Yes. Absolutely. Government is just Eric Cartman hitting things with sticks going, bad. That's a bad independent company. Very nice. Yes. Absolutely. Very good. All right. Government order earplugs. Got a bunch of hearing damage. 3M got a lawsuit with that. Yes, I saw that. And a lot of that. Absolutely. There's a whole bunch of people because I was in artillery for a time when I was in the Marine Corps. And there are people, they had the earplugs for artillerymen. They will often wear earplugs because they're obviously firing artillery pieces all day long. And the government earplugs didn't work. Tons of ear damage. Massive lawsuit. Because what could go wrong with the government contract? I don't know. Loss of hearing forever? Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Governments just give us honest info. We'll figure the rest out. Oh my God. Yes. I wish they would just do that. Wouldn't that be good? Yes. Just that. Absolutely. Just came on. How great was Mr. Harrington in Arkansas getting the free hour of press because the GOP did show. Actually, the GOP didn't show, but no worries. It's Ricky Harrington Jr., just for clarity, and he's awesome. I love him. I want 100 more of him. Yes, he's great. By the way, those of you who don't know, he's running for senator in Arkansas. You should go check him out. Ricky Harrington Jr., libertarian, running on Arkansas. Thank you, Joe, for bringing it up. Yes, he's awesome. Love him. He's amazing. Had him on my show twice. Raised money for him. He's awesome. Please go help him out. Yes. Rand Paul tweeted on Sunday that Trump told him he was ending the war in Afghanistan. I'm still waiting to hear it from any other source. I hope it's true. I hope it's true. That'd be amazing. I hope it's true. Remington went bankrupt, so it's not here anymore. I thought Remington moved, Paul. Are you sure? I think Remington moved to Alabama, someplace in the South. I don't think they went bankrupt. I think they moved something like 2,000 jobs to another state, something like that. Yes. So, when did intelligent humans start to believe that a bandana is first a mask and second any protection? Imagine an operating room with a doctor wearing a bandana. This whole conspiracy is working for them. That's true. You know what? The next time a doctor, I'm in a hospital, and say, Doc, where's your bandana? You look so much cooler. Get a cool bandana with like a skull on it or something. It's amazing. I love that. Absolutely. Yes. It was Florida, Texas, and California for. I don't know where that's going, so I don't know how that works. All right. I got a feeling New York will be mandating masks for a long time to come, vaccine or not. Yeah, that's the problem, right? I think they will. I think you're totally right, because we've allowed them to. And once we allow, why in the world would they ever go away? Why would they ever change, right? I wonder how many people who have worn masks have tested positive. I just saw something on CNN this morning. It was a family, I believe from, I think it was California. Family lost 8 people to COVID. I was blown away. I said, oh my God, how horrible. Dad and cousins and uncles destroyed the entire business. Everything was just destroyed. It was horrible. And he said, we did everything right? We were using hand sanitizer. We wore masks. To your point, Peter, I think that the biggest issue is population density. That's the biggest issue, along with what Bill Maher says. And Bill Maher is right on this. He says 2 things. He's like, it's people being in bad health and eating bad food. Bill Maher says that. What is the biggest, if you hear what they say, they don't actually say it's a COVID death, right? It is a COVID-related death, because comorbidity is everything. COVID itself COVID itself rarely is a thing that kills you. It does, but more often than not, it's the other thing you have that kills you, and COVID made that worse, right? The comorbidity is the biggest piece. You're completely right. I mean, it's the other things that are killing you. Absolutely. So, most of the people who have not served have an issue with the statement, yes, people die. In the military, we learn to accept the mortality. Most civilians haven't. It's a valid point, right? And I tell a story often. I like this, Brian. I tell a story often. There's only one time when I thought I might be going, well, maybe twice when I thought I might be going into combat. I'm not a combat veteran, but there were times we thought we were going to go in. And when we thought we were, one of them was during Tiananmen Square. When that was happening, I happened to be in East Asia at the time. And we thought, because rumors would go around, they were not true, but we didn't know at the time. So we believed the rumors that were not true. We believed that maybe they were going to send Marines in to go, bring out Americans if the Chinese Tiananmen Square thing turned to a civil war. So we were getting psyched up for this. Maybe we're going to go in. It could happen. And we were literally making sure that we had dog tags in our boots. For those of you who don't know, you have dog tags that wrap around your neck. But we would get an extra pair, an extra set, and we put them in the laces in our boots, and we'd paint them black. They were little black things we paint, like our symbols in black. We paint it black in our boot. Why? It's going to sound horrible, but to your point, Brian, we thought, what if we get our heads blown off? If we get our heads blown off, then the dog tag flies, and then we don't know who it is. We don't know the body. But if you got a dog tag in your boot, they can look, go, oh, that guy's head's blown off. Oh, but that's Sergeant Sharpe. We don't know where his head is. He got blown up, but we found his body. So there's something to send home to mom or to your family to bury. I know sounds horrible. I know, but Brian, you know what I'm talking about. This is the kinds of things we thought about. What are the odds of getting both your head and your right leg blown off? Slim. One of them, we'll find one of them. And if we find one of them, then we could at least send you home. That's the way many of us thought then. And some guys were so hardcore, particularly some outford observers, they would tattoo their dog tag on their body, right? Tattoo it right here. Tattoo the dog tag here. They figured no matter what, the torso's there, so they can send it home. I know, sounds horrible, but you're right. We do have a much more I don't know, morbid sense of life being in the military. Yeah. I had to stop watching CNN because it's 100% Orwellian doublespeak. Fox and MSNBC aren't any better. I think you're right. They both, the spin is hard, but I can't do this if I don't watch all of them. And I actually watch all of them. Yes. I think the reinfections are rare and most likely isolated incidents where the patient has a compromised immune system. Yes. Not going to make antibodies. Then again, I'm no expert, but no, I think you're right. That makes sense. Absolutely. Yes. I have not stayed home, changed my business model, or changed most of my routine this whole time. I wear a mask because I do travel and socialize to protect others. I have, however, quit smoking, lost weight, began regular exercise. Oh my God, Karen, good for you. That's nothing but good. And started being mindful of my nutrition and vitamins. Karen, let's everyone please copy Karen. She's amazing. Let's all copy her. Let's do what she does. Yes. Yes. Let's do what she does. That's amazing. Thank you, Karen. I'm so glad that you made my night. That's amazing. I love that so much. But I gotta tell you, I mean, I've done just recently 61 events in 5 weeks. I wear a mask whenever anyone asks. I shake hands when people want to shake hands. I do elbows when I do elbows, fist bump when I do fist bump. Those who've seen me, I do the same thing every time. Doing a fist bump, handshake, elbow, and whatever the person wants is what I do. We are the party of consent. So do what the person wants. I stay 6 feet away unless the person wants me to come closer, then I do. If I'm inside an event, I ask what their rules are. Can I be 6 feet? My mask be on, sitting down. I follow all those rules. And I think I've been fine. That I know of, none of my events have caused COVID. I hope not, but none of them have. And I haven't got it. So, I think if we just act smartly, we should be okay. That's my gut, but who knows? Yes. Everyone's job/career is essential to them, their life, and their family. 100% correct. Yes, we are all essential. I deem it so. I have the same authority Cuomo has. His ability to declare you as essential or not, I have exactly the same amount of authority to deem you essential or not essential as he does. And I use that authority to deem all of you as essential. And you have to follow my rules. No, you don't. But anyway, yes, you're all essential. 100%. Yes. All right. See if I can keep going. If someone wears a bandana, I tell them this town ain't big enough for the two of us. Nice. I like that. You gotta have a hat though, and maybe some and yeah, I have a 6-shooter. Then you'll be fine. Yes. I love that one. All right. I got a text asking me to vote the work and family line. I live in New Mexico, but supported your campaign. Thank you. I asked if they agreed not to initiate force to achieve the political or social goals. They said defiantly, I think it's definitely no force. Let them know they're on the first of being libertarian. Nicely done, brother. Nicely done. I like that. Very good. When people have comorbidities, catch the flu and die, they don't call it a flu death. Ooh, Brian, that is a very interesting concept. You're right. They don't call it a flu death. You're right. I remember if any of you happen to see the South Park episode when they talk about that issue. South Park had a pandemic special. Yeah, had a pandemic special. And in that pandemic special, they talked about the idea of COVID-related deaths. That's what it was. COVID-related deaths. And so in the South Park, if you guys want to watch it, I'm going to give a little bit of it away if you haven't seen it already. But in the episode, they use all the things that are happening together. So the cops in South Park get defunded, so they don't have jobs. And the teachers in South Park are afraid to go to school, so they won't go to school. So they hire the cops to be teachers. That's what they do in the episode. So the cops become teachers in South Park, right? Obviously, joke, cartoon, but I'm saying that's what happens. So they're saying that's what happens. So the two kids fight. So the cops start shooting when the kids fight. And who do they shoot? The one black kid named Token. So they shoot the black kid. So they shoot the black kid, doesn't die, take him off to the hospital. And then when the kid goes off to the hospital, they then lock down the entire school and say we have a COVID-related hospital someone went to the hospital, COVID-related incident, so the school has to be shut down. And the kids go, what are you talking about? You shot a kid. That's not COVID. And they go, yeah, but we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for COVID. So it's a COVID-related shooting. So his hospitalization is a COVID-related hospitalization. So they now quarantine the entire school. Again, it's a joke, but I think it goes right to what you're saying, Brian. It really does. Absolutely. Yes. Some soldiers get a tattoo of their dog tags on their torso. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. Brian Sutton, don't forget the people who blow their brains out and test positive for COVID and cause deaths listed as COVID-19. Is that true, David? I actually didn't know that. I hope my team is watching. Please check that out. That to me. All right, I didn't know that. That to me seems too much. But I'm not saying it's not true. It just seems like a lot. So yeah. All right. I just had chicken parm for dinner, so I can't copy Karen. Jokes aside, I work out 4 days a week and stopped drinking soda 2 years ago. Paul, look at you, man. Karen, look what you're doing. Look at you. You got to come on every night and say that stuff. Nicely done. I love that. Yes. Yeah, it was a funny episode. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Love that. The pandemic special was a weed sale. Yes, it was. Absolutely. So, all right, guys, I want to say thank you so much for today. I hope today's episode was interesting. I know I did a lot of I told you so this episode, but I did it because, damn it, I told you so. That's why I did it. So, and I want you to know that I'm not just, when I'm saying these things, and you might think I'm nuts, or I'm saying these things, you might say, how the hell does Larry know these things? It's not because I'm super smart. That isn't it. It's because I have experience in the business world and I pay attention. And anyone who has experience in the business world and pays attention and actually wants to solve something, there's the critical piece. If you want to actually solve something, you can come up with the same ideas and theories that I come up with. And Frontline did too. They actually wanted to solve something. They did some homework and they found that out. We can make things better if we try. It's not magic. It's just caring. And Tim said it right. Local people care about local people. Let's create a better environment so we can do better. That's really what it's about. So please like, comment, and share, as I say all the time. If you've got some cash, please sponsor the show. $10, $25, or $100. Patreon.com/Sharpe Way. If you don't have the cash, I get it totally. No worries. Like, comment, share. That's free. So please click that like button, comment, say something, share, and we'll rock and roll. I will see you guys all. And I'm going to have a comedian on tomorrow. I will see you all tomorrow. We'll laugh a bit more. Have a good night.